You really want this on video?
I pull it. I'm mad enough to pull it.
This is the story of a woman who documented her own murder. She thought she was just recording another instance of domestic violence. To her, she was trying to get evidence. But what she didn't know was that she was recording her last minutes. And the recorded video would be evidence of how she died. It was a tense afternoon in Spring, Texas, on December 6, 2021. The kind of day that starts normal and ends in tragedy. Patricia Birmingham, known to everyone as Rici, held her phone with trembling hands. The camera was on. She was capturing everything. Her husband Carey stood in the driveway and in his hands was a shotgun. They had been arguing for 30 minutes. 30 minutes of accusations, of anger, of a marriage falling apart in real time. But now things had escalated beyond words. Now there was a weapon involved, and Rici knew she needed proof of what was happening. She asked him a question that would haunt everyone who later watched the footage. Do you really want to do this on video? Maybe she thought the camera would save her. Maybe she believed that knowing he was being recorded would snap him back to reality. Or maybe in that moment she realized what was about to happen and wanted the world to know the truth. Carey's response was cold. He told her she was going to meet Jesus. He told her he hoped it was worth it. Then what happened after will haunt him till date. But before we get to that terrible day, before we talk about death and trials and sentences, we need to understand who Patricia Birmingham really was. Rici was 48 years old in 2021. 48 years of living fully, of working hard, of making a difference. If you had met her, you would have been struck by her energy. People described her as vivacious, one of those rare individuals who light up a room just by walking into it. Beautiful inside and out, they said. And they meant it. In Savannah, Georgia, Rici became the first certified and registered cardiovascular technologist. The first. Think about what that means. She was pioneering work that would help save countless lives. This wasn't just a job to her, this was a calling. She worked with cutting-edge medical technology, helping doctors diagnose and treat heart conditions. Every day, she went to work knowing that what she did mattered, that she was making a real difference. Then came 2020, the year that broke so many people. The pandemic shut down the world. Businesses collapsed. People lost jobs. Fear and uncertainty dominated everything. Most people were just trying to survive. But Rici? She reinvented herself completely. She transitioned into real estate. Now anyone can become a real estate agent. But becoming one of the top agents in Houston, in the middle of a pandemic, no less, that takes something special. That takes drive, intelligence, and an ability to connect with people that most of us simply don't have. Rici didn't just sell houses, she helped families find homes. She would tell you about her daughter, Olivia. Olivia was 16 years old in 2021, a teenager navigating all the complicated emotions and challenges that come with that age. But she wasn't navigating them alone. She had Rici, and the bond between them was extraordinary. Carey Birmingham was 60 years old. He and Rici had been married for roughly 20 years. 2 decades of sharing a life, of building a home together, of raising a daughter. To neighbors and friends, they seemed fine. Sure, they argued sometimes, but what couple doesn't? There were no obvious red flags. No one looked at the Birminghams and thought, something terrible is going to happen there. But something was happening behind closed doors. Something was festering in Carey's mind, growing darker and more poisonous with each passing day. Carey believed, or at least he claimed to believe, that Rici was having an affair. He also believed she was stealing money from him. Whether these accusations had any basis in reality would later be debated in court. But the truth of the allegations almost doesn't matter. What matters is that Carey became consumed by them. His jealousy grew. His anger intensified. Every interaction with Rici became filtered through this lens of betrayal. Real or imagined, those beliefs took root in his mind and transformed him into someone dangerous. And Rici had no idea just how dangerous he had become. We don't know all the details of their private life. We don't know how many arguments they had or what was said behind closed doors. What we do know is that by December 6, 2021, Carey Birmingham had reached a breaking point. And when he broke, he shattered everything around him. Monday, December 6th, 2021. It started like any other Monday. Olivia went to school. Rici probably had work to do, clients to call, properties to show, the busy life of a successful real estate agent. Carey was home, and sometime that afternoon, the arguing started. We know about this argument because Rici recorded it. That 30-minute video that would later be shown in court captured their voices rising, captured the anger building, captured everything spiraling out of control.
That's what you're doing, because you don't do a goddamn thing to take care of.
Oh my God, we're not going on the fat train now, are we?
Yeah, we'll go.
Are we hopping on the fat train now? What the hell is wrong with you? How did you gain so much weight? You don't look healthy.
You don't even encourage me when I lose.
The argument moved outside. Maybe Rici was trying to get away from him. Maybe she thought being in an open space, where neighbors could see, would keep her safer. Maybe she was hoping someone would notice and call for help. Rici had her phone aimed at Carey as he walked toward her. There he was, in a bathrobe of all things, standing in their driveway in the middle of a suburban afternoon, holding a shotgun. The image is surreal. It's the kind of thing that doesn't seem real even when you're watching it. But it was real, terrifyingly real. The video shows everything. You can see Carey approaching. You can see the weapon in his hands. You can hear Rici's voice, surprisingly steady given the circumstances, asking that question. Do you really want to do this on video? She was giving him a chance to stop. She was documenting his actions, creating evidence, hoping that the presence of the camera would bring him back to his senses. She was a woman fighting for her life in the only way she could in that moment. Carey didn't care about the camera. He didn't care that he was being recorded. He didn't care that there would be irrefutable proof of what he was about to do. His response to her question was chilling. He told her she was going to meet Jesus, not in a comforting way. Not in the way a spouse might try to calm someone down. He said it as a threat, as a promise. He was telling her, in those words, that he was about to end her life. Then he added, I hope it was worth it. He was referring to the alleged affair, the supposed betrayal that had brought them to this moment. Rici had been with this man for 20 years. She had shared her life with him, built a home with him, raised a daughter with him. And now she was standing in their driveway, watching him prepare to take her life. The first shot rang out. The sound was deafening, captured clearly on the phone's microphone. Rici fell. But Carey didn't stop. He fired again. And then a third time. 3 shots. 3 separate times he pulled that trigger. 3 separate moments where he chose to continue, where he could have stopped, but didn't. Rici collapsed in the driveway. The phone fell from her hands, but incredibly, it kept recording. The camera captured the sky above, the sounds of the neighborhood, and then something that made the blood run cold. Carey Birmingham walking past the camera, stepping over or around his wife's body, and heading back into the house. He didn't check on her. He didn't call for help. He didn't show any emotion at all. He just walked away, leaving her there to die alone on the concrete. Olivia was 17 years old. She was at school when her mother was shot. She was living a completely normal day, probably thinking about homework or friends or what she was going to do that evening. She had no idea that her entire world was ending while she sat in class. When school let out, Olivia headed home. Just another Monday afternoon. But as she got closer to her house, she noticed something wrong. Police cars, lots of them, blocking her street, officers standing around. Yellow crime scene tape. Olivia saw her mother's body in the driveway, covered with a sheet. She learned that her father had been arrested. In the span of minutes, she went from being a normal teenager with 2 parents to an orphan, because yes, her mother was dead. But her father was gone too. The man who had raised her, who she had trusted, who she had loved, that man was gone, replaced by someone capable of unspeakable violence. I lost both my parents that day, Olivia would later say in court, her voice breaking. My dad died that day too because the person who did that to my mom and my father aren't the same person. Those words carry so much weight, so much pain. Olivia was trying to reconcile 2 versions of her father in her mind, the man who raised her and the man who took her mother's life. And she couldn't do it, because those 2 people couldn't exist in the same body. So in her mind, her father had died too that day, leaving behind someone she didn't recognize. The trauma Olivia experienced is almost incomprehensible. Her mother was gone. Her father was going to prison. Her home was a crime scene. Her family was destroyed. Everything stable and secure in her life had been ripped away in one violent afternoon. And according to her own testimony, she had never seen her father be physically violent toward her mother before this. There had been no warning signs that she could see. No previous incidents that prepared her for this possibility. One day she had a family. The next day she didn't. When police arrived at the Birmingham home on Rosedawn Lane, they found a scene that was tragically straightforward. A woman dead from gunshot wounds in the driveway. A man at the property who was clearly responsible. No mystery. No question about what had happened. Carey Birmingham didn't try to run. He didn't try to hide the weapon or clean up the scene. He didn't attempt to create an alibi. He was simply there when police arrived, and he was immediately taken into custody. But what made this case extraordinary wasn't just the physical evidence. It was the video. Patricia had recorded everything. The entire 30-minute confrontation. The threats. The final words, the shots. All of it was captured on her phone. Carey Birmingham was formally charged with taking his wife's life. The evidence against him was overwhelming. Dozens of neighbors had heard the gunshots. The video showed exactly what happened. There was no path to claiming innocence. This wasn't going to be a trial about guilt or innocence. This was going to be a trial about punishment. By the time the case went to trial in 2024, more than 2 years had passed. 2 years of Olivia grieving and trying to build a life without her mother. 2 years of Patricia's family demanding justice. 2 years of Carey sitting in jail, knowing what he had done. His defense attorney, Anthony Osso, faced an impossible task. How do you defend someone who was caught on video committing such a violent act? Osso's strategy centered on something called sudden passion under Texas law. He argued that Carey had acted in the heat of the moment, overwhelmed by emotion after discovering his wife's alleged infidelity and financial betrayal. The defense didn't try to justify what Carey did. They couldn't, but they tried to paint a picture of a man who snapped rather than a man who coldly calculated taking his wife's life. We never tried to justify the actions of our client, Osso later said. But the defense wasn't about justification. It was about why he did what he did. The defense presented Carey as someone who had been deeply wounded by betrayal. They talked about the alleged affair and the missing money. They suggested that these discoveries had pushed Carey past his breaking point. The video was played in the courtroom. Every person present had to watch it. The attorneys, the judge, the jury, Patricia's family, and Carey himself, forced to confront what he had done. At the end, his hurt succeeded to convince that it's a crime of passion, so he was sentenced to 10 years prison with the possibility of parole. Carey Birmingham is serving his sentence right now. He sits in a prison cell, and he will for a few more years at minimum. When he gets out, and he likely will get out, he'll be able to walk freely. He'll be able to see sunsets and eat good food and experience life. Patricia Rici Birmingham's final act wasn't just recording her husband's rage. It was documenting the truth. A truth that made sure her story would be told, her voice would be heard, and justice, no matter how imperfect, would be served. If this story moved you, remember behind every statistic is a human being who once laughed, loved, and dreamed. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more real stories that uncover the darkest sides of human nature and the lessons they leave behind. This is True Crime and Scam Stories, where every story has a heartbeat.